Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano and Bitcoin. In this video we're going to take a look at the Cardano chart and the Bitcoin chart. We've just had a bit of a pump here, especially Solana is pumping at the moment, but it doesn't change any of my projections, to be honest. Nevertheless, we're taking a look here at Bitcoin and Cardano, and we also talk about the Fed decision that has just happened. Obviously there's a lot of people focused on that today. There was a huge, I just checked the YouTube videos. I mean, there were so many people talking about the Fed decision today. I mean, it is important, but in my view, what was decided today doesn't change my projection. And if you've been following my videos in the recent weeks, you know where my view is, that we're going to go much lower here for Bitcoin and many of the altcoins as well. Nevertheless, it has led to a short-term pump here, and that is sort of at least something a little bit exciting, because we had a lot of sideways move here. So what was announced? So basically they announced that there will be they are going to increase the interest rates in the next year, but they're not going to do anything until the labor market is picking up really. So generally at the moment, for the foreseeable future, they're going to keep the interest rates near zero, which the market has considered to be very positive. But still, they recognize that there is risk of inflation. Inflation is all around us at the moment, so they have to do something. So they're going to increase their efforts to fight inflation, which probably goes along with interest rate increases. Nevertheless, for now, they said they're going to keep the interest rates near zero. And apparently, as we can see, the market has seen that rather positive. It was quite a red day for the crypto market, but now it has picked up again. And looking at the Bitcoin chart, we see a nice green candle, but what you can also see, it is not sustainable. I think this was just a short-term pump. If we zoom out, you can't really recognize it even. So it was nothing too significant in my view, nothing that changes here the scope of the chart, nothing that would change and influence any of these scenarios that I talked about. We haven't even broken out of this pattern here, this triangle. I mean, to be honest, what we can see here, a pattern. Patterns are subjective. That's why I don't use them that often. I rather stick to the Elliott Wave method and Fibs, but still, there are various ways how you could draw, how you could here on this chart draw a pattern. You could have a channel. You can also have a triangle if you use the wick. I always like to use the wicks because this is generally what I try to do. And what normally counts, the wicks count. Always the highest or the level or the lowest price does count in my view. And I believe, as I believe in market psychology and the Elliott Wave method, even wicks can influence the psychology of people and the market and fear and greed. That is why I consider and use it. Nevertheless, if we draw a triangle here, we can see we're still in this is not really, it looked a bit of a, big pump. Beginning of that, 49.4K was reached in that green candle here. But we've already dropped down 50% again, so nothing really exciting. And we are still below the EMA daily ribbon here, unfortunately. Here the blue line, which one was that? That is the 13-day EMA. And it's pushing us down, it's keeping us down. No big change here on the Bitcoin chart. What is more interesting though is the Cardano chart, but for everybody who is new to this channel, I'm basically of the view that we are in a large correction, gonna move down here in the next move to the downside. That is what I can see here. We've come down from the top of the wave B, Elliott Wave method, ABC correction. That's where we're in at the moment in my view. If you don't know about it, if you want to learn about it, check out my second channel, link in the description, More Trading Online. I talk about the Elliott Wave method there. But my view in the next move would be we come down here, have a move to the upside into this target range, which lies between key Fibonacci retracement levels from that wave B. So you draw a fib from the wave B to the wave 5, and then you see the retracement here, and it is lying between two key fib levels. This area lying between 55 and 63K roughly. It can go a little bit higher, but ideally I would expect the price to land somewhere in the middle here. This is the scenario I would still expect here, moving into that area and then coming down below 30K. And I talked about these scenarios in previous videos, so nothing has changed so far, so I won't repeat it all. Cardano looks interesting at the moment. Obviously far too early to be happy or euphoric about it after such a long downtrend, but today we have still continued to hold this orange ascending trend line that I showed you, started to show you that a few days ago. This seemed to be very relevant. You know, it's not a fib level or anything. It is an ascending trend line that has provided support throughout. A lot of people talk about the $1 level, and that is relevant. But what's also relevant is this ascending trend line here. You can see the wicks always did hit that trend line, and again, that's where we are now. It would be a great location for a turnaround here. Honestly, it would be. Also just above the 0.887 fib level. That's why this is such an important support level here at the moment. Again, we could still theoretically drop to $1, and it would still be a wave 2 correction, after which we would move into a wave 3. We are basically then in a wave 3 within a wave 3, larger wave 3, which is great. That would push us to much higher prices here, but we need to see the turnaround above $1. And this now would be a great location and position for a turnaround. But how likely is that, you know, with projections that Bitcoin is going to drop further? It will be very hard here for Cardano to make a difference and to move against the market. Not really sure what could really push that to happen. I think a Sunday swap release would help with that. But one very important thing that I wanted to draw your attention to, well, two things here that actually look fairly bullish, is that we are oversold. So, you know, how much more can we really drop? So we are oversold on a daily. That is highly relevant. Whenever that happened before, we saw big pumps to the upside. Yeah, just really to make you aware about that. And here as well. So nice. That's obviously a completely different scale here. So, but the last time here, that was in July, we saw a huge pump to the upside. And what I talked about this morning, bullish crossover coming on the daily MACD. That is quite meaningful actually. We just have that now. It's a bit too early to say really, do we? I mean, we have it, but it only just started, right? So you see the first attempt of a green bar here on the daily MACD. You see that MACD line turning around here. I did mention it in my previous 2 videos today. So we see that turnaround here happening, and that could be considered a buy signal. But in the general environment of the market, it's extremely difficult. What is also good to see is that we broke above this descending trend line here. So we make at least attempts to do that. So that's looking good, but we've got a lot of EMAs to go through here. A lot of resistances. Next key resistance above us is 145. I think if we can at least get above 145, that would allow us to climb the fib ladder again. And that would be a really good sign. Overall here, it starts to look interesting, but it's fairly early still. But it's a good sign and a potential first sign for a turnaround. But I want to be very careful here because we had so many hopes here of Cardano turning around in this area here. And that box, yeah, that box should actually be lower. It should be between 181 and 125, as you know. That is the target area here where we should be turning around between the 0.618 and the 0.887 fib level. Now obviously we have come very far into this target area. We're now back in it, but we already dropped below it, unfortunately. So the lowest level we can go in this bullish scenario would be $1. After that turnaround, then I would expect prices above $4.40, $4.50 to $5, maybe even $5.50. That's what I would expect in the next move up, strong move to the upside. But yeah, that's where we are at the moment. So hopefully you liked the update video about Cardano. And if you did, then please smash the like button, comment please for the algorithm, and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.